Okay, this is Moshe coming to you from Israel in the Galilee. And what is today anyway? 27th? I think so. Yeah, 27th of June. It's almost 8 o'clock in the morning and it's going to hit the low 90s today. So we'll be plenty hot. And it's been rather quiet in terms of not that many missiles, although yesterday, I believe in the evening, the Houthis were good enough to fire 5 missiles at Israel. All of them were intercepted and disabled before they entered Israel. So when you hear Trump talk about how we have a peace plan and there's peace in Israel, he's a goofy liar. There isn't. He ran away from the Houthis after they damaged 2 of his aircraft carriers, ruined 2 fighter jets on aircraft carriers, destroyed them. And, now they're firing at us. And is he telling Netanyahu not to go attack the Houthis? I don't know. Probably not. He's not that irrational. He could get there. So we're going to cover today what Trump is proposing to do to Israel regarding Gaza, which is basically cursing Israel. And Netanyahu's all in with this idiot Trump. Trump is certainly not what the American people thought they were going to get, is he? And we're going to talk about what's going on in Israel. Is our airports really open? Are we getting shipments into Israel? Are people flying in and out of Israel? What's really going on? And what the heck is Trump trying to set us up for? Which he is. It's just shocking what he's trying to do. 2-state solution and all. And I'll get into it with you. Right now, I want to go into the live stream and make sure we got a live stream. Oh, I've got moderators here. Thank you, moderators. I'm going to put a post up in the chat real quick. Oh, I've got moderators here. Thank you, moderators. This won't be very long. All right, let's get this up. It'll be a second. Okay, looks good. All right. Being a Bible-believing site, I'm going to do some praise. There is no God like Jehovah. 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 There is no Messiah like Yeshua. 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 I got to do some spiritual warfare. Give me a second.
אז בעקבות התקיפה באיראן, ככה מי שלא יתעדכן בשעות האחרונות.
I got an idiot problem there. Okay. All right, we had some wise guys trying to play games. I had to shut that down. Yeah, they're better than Biden and Harris, but not much. What he's doing to us in Gaza is pretty similar to Biden. He's okay. So what is he trying to do? First of all, the plan is not finalized yet, so I know some aspects of the plan, but the details in it are always going to change. Essentially, the plan involves Hamas leaving Gaza. That ain't going to happen. There's nobody on planet Earth except Trump that thinks Hamas is just going to pack up and walk out of Gaza. Nobody on the planet believes that except Trump. It's ridiculous and stupid to believe that. Never going to happen, okay? It's just not going to happen. It would have happened already if there would have been peace in Gaza with Netanyahu if they did it. Then this buffoon, Trump, is also saying that they're going to return all the hostages. What? Have they done that yet? It's pushing not quite 2 years. It's more than a year and a half they haven't returned the hostages. Why? Because Trump says so? Trump's a laughing stock in the world, especially the Muslim community, because the Houthis and Iran made a joke of him. He's just a big mouth that doesn't deliver. He's scared of his own shadow. He runs away from the Houthis like a little girl, and also Iran. Iran's not meeting with him next week or any other time for some treaty talks. Trump's saying they are. He's lying. Do you understand? This guy has lost his brains. He tells the people lies. The truth no longer matters to Trump. He's such an egomaniac. What he's focused on is the public opinion of him, which to him is more important than the reality or the facts. This is like Hitler. Really? Did the demons that were in Hitler go into Trump or something? It's too much like Hitler. It really is. It's so stupid. He's dumb. I thought he was such a smart guy. Is something wrong with him? He's got bats in the belfry. He doesn't know what to do. The bad news for Israel is Netanyahu is such an idiot. He goes along with it. Yes, sir, Mr. Trump, I'm in. Okay, so number one, they're not giving the hostages back just because Trump and Netanyahu say so. Number two, now, what would it take to get them to give the hostages back? Killing them? Nah, they'd kill the hostages. What might work is if you went after Khomeini live and captured him and traded him for the hostages. Would they do that? Maybe. They probably wouldn't want to. Because if they did that, they lose their leverage. Which basically means they'd have two choices. One is you got till tomorrow to pack your bags, say goodbye, and you're leaving Gaza. We don't care where you go, it's going to be out of Israel and you're never returning to Israel or Gaza. Excuse me. That's choice one. Choice two is you die in Gaza. They're not going to do that. So, again, why is Netanyahu agreeing with him? Because it's a joke, probably. He knows that Hamas is never even going to get close to agreeing to it. So he's shining Trump on. He's getting ready to stab Trump in the back. Trump rained on his parade. His parade was to severely disable Iran. Not just the nukes. The missile cities, the missiles, the drones, all this stuff. Military bases, military airports, military weapon and equipment factories, military weapon equipment storage facilities. He wanted to play a real wipeout on him. He was going to keep bombing them for at least another week. For no good reason. A delusional Trump, and he is delusional, came out and stopped the war, told Netanyahu to stop. Of course, Iran stopped because they were getting their head handed to them. So they said, yeah, okay, Mr. Trump, if Israel stops, we'll stop. But they did break the ceasefire several times, including yesterday. During the night in Iran, what happened? A drone hit an apartment that had some high-ranking figures in the, Iranian military or intelligence network, I forgot. I think it was the military, and blew him up. Now, this is the kicker here. Did Israel control the drone? Or did the opposition force in Iran, those that want to overthrow the government, did they do it? But where the heck did they get a weaponized drone from anyway, if it wasn't from Israel? Would they go to Amazon, and order, stealthy suicide drone, 18 kilograms of explosives, range of 180 miles? Come on, It's coming out that Iran hid 900 pounds or kilograms of enriched uranium at least 60%. Not 90, it was 900. I said 90 yesterday. Trump is saying, oh, no, that's true. First of all, Trump doesn't know, and nobody knows. And the Iranians fortified their missile cities and their nuclear facilities for weeks before Trump attacked. Okay? So they knew an attack was coming. They would have had the brains to put it in a secret site. Did Trump really get the nuclear facilities? He probably got Fordo, which Israel hit many times, and he probably hit Fordo. They probably damaged that. They were pushing a large amount of these penetrator 30,000-pound MOPs, the penetrators, into photos. So yeah, they might have been able to come down the duct work. And blow stuff up down there. The duct was carrying the air, and the air has to get down into the bottom where the people work, where the machines are. But let's talk about this, because it's not so simple. I've seen the way bomb shelters and things like that are built in Israel. They didn't just have a duct that went straight like that. They're not idiots, because you could just drop hand grenades down there. They would have had ductwork that turned different ways. So number one, you couldn't send any explosives down there because it would have 90-degree turns, or other kinds of more softer turns that wouldn't allow it. So maybe they didn't even get Fordo, but Israel worked on Fordo a lot. If anybody got anything, it was Fordo. Not the other 4 known facilities plus a few others that they know exist and they don't know where they are. The other ones, I don't think anything happened to. They did one heavy ballistic missile or missile launch. I think they were more like cruise missiles on another facility from the submarine. I don't know how that went. It probably didn't do much. Did they create some damage at Fordo? I'm sure they did, dropping these 30,000-pound bombs going 500-600 miles an hour when they hit, with heavy hardened steel hulls on the missile. You better believe it's going to do something. But did they demolish it and destroy the machinery? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I would say that was the only one that they might have gotten. And Iran is, got the So I'm not so sure. So I think Trump's lying about that. He just wants the American people to think that he destroyed it. Now, we know the truth about the nukes, so it's irrelevant. Trump knows the truth about the nukes, so it's irrelevant. It was just an alibi. Okay? So that's why he doesn't care, and you shouldn't either. But what you should care about is the fact that he's lying. And Iran yesterday said we're thinking about giving America another slap. Now, that's how they talk. A slap was what? They hit the embassy in Iraq, and they hit at least one, if not 2 or 3 military bases in Iraq. I have no idea if there were casualties or not. I don't believe the Americans would tell us if there were. And then they hit the American a building that the American military were apparently living in Qatar, and apparently they evacuated in time, so nobody got hurt, or so they say. Okay? And if Trump didn't throw the towel in, they would have started hitting the oil refineries, ports, and piers in these Middle Eastern cities and more of his bases. He got scared to death. That's really what happened. Trump got scared. Don't think he didn't get scared. He got petrified scared. Okay, now the Iranians are afraid of Israel because they know Israel delivers. They're not afraid of Trump at all. So where are we at here? I don't think the peace deal with Iran is going to hold much longer. I don't know to what extent our airports are open. I'm going to try to find out. People are having a lot of trouble getting into Israel. that are trying to returning Israelis. They're not getting flights, apparently. So I don't know what's up. I don't know if Netanyahu's deceiving us and he's afraid to open the airports up. I doubt it. I just don't understand. The Houthis could be threatening them. The airlines could be afraid. They could be afraid of Iran. I don't understand. I'm going to try to understand. Are we still fighting in Gaza? Yeah. To what purpose? That's $1 million question. I don't know anymore. More on this moron ceasefire, though. They're talking about making a two-state solution using Gaza. Now, I don't know how the heck you do that. I have no idea what they intend to do. Divide Gaza into multiple pieces or something. You got me there. I'm at a loss. I don't know. Beats me. Don't know. But this is the worst part. They intend to have 2 to 4 countries. Remember, I told you this is fluid and still up in the air. 2 to 4 countries supervising the government of Gaza with Hamas removed. And they're suggesting Egypt and the UAE, both enemies of Israel. I'll be right back. Can you imagine this? This is such lunacy. I'll be right back. Now let me break down to you why I'm saying this is like a curse to Israel. In Gaza, they built hundreds of miles of tunnels, or some crazy number. I figure they brought in, just for the concrete, to make these tunnels, at least 5,000 tractor trailers full of concrete. Maybe 7 or 10,000. How did they get them in? They dug tunnels into Egypt and they drove them through. Now you're going to tell me that the Egyptian government saw big trucks full of concrete going through, thousands of them, and they didn't know about it? That's insane. Of course they knew. They were behind it. They're an enemy. Okay? Now, in addition to that, there were weapons. Thousands of missiles, solar-fired missiles, missile launchers, missile manufacturing equipment, rifles, ammunition. Do you understand? There was probably 15,000 trucks going through over a few years. Egypt missed it? Egypt was helping. On my Telegram channel, I have a video that shows the people in Gaza. It's a current video going out and eating pizza and in restaurants and shopping and stuff like that. How did they get the money? A lot of them used to work in Israel. That's been discontinued since October 7th. Qatar gives them the money. Supports these people for not working. Just sitting there and tormenting Israel. Now, do they really mean they're going to run all 30,000 Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad members out of Gaza, or do they mean they're going to run 100 of the leaders out? Probably 100 of the leaders. But the leaders aren't going. Why hasn't Israel destroyed all their tunnels yet? Because of the hostages. They put the hostages in the tunnels. Netanyahu doesn't want to end the war in Gaza. He just told the criminal courts of Israel that he needs a 2-week delay. He can't go testify in court anymore for 2 weeks because of security measures. See, that's how he stays out of jail. You understand? So he's talking to Netanyahu. Netanyahu said, we got to shut this Gaza down. You know, listen, Benji, none of us got our demons now because they're doing spiritual warfare. That's just me talking. You know. So we got to shut these wars down. It's end times. We don't know what's going to happen. Well, I can't shut it down. If I do, I'll have my criminal case and I can go to jail for years. Well, listen, Netanyahu, it's got to get shut down. Without our demons, we can't run around and do these wars. I'll make a statement. And then Netanyahu comes out with a statement, yesterday or the day before. The Israeli justice system should stop persecuting Netanyahu. What nonsense. What is he, the prime minister of Israel now, Trump? About the damages to Iran. Iran was nice. And they came out with a statement I read this morning that Trump exaggerated on the amount of damage he did to Iran. They're afraid of Israel because they know all the damage Israel did to them. A tremendous amount of the generals of the military arms of Iran were killed in that 12-day war, as they started calling it. A lot of them. I mean, a list like this, a massive amount. Plus scientists, plus yesterday there were explosions, the day before yesterday, explosions in Iran activated their aerial defense systems. We don't know what that was, probably drones. And last night a targeted assassination. In an apartment in Tehran, or next to Tehran, or something like that, in Iran. So perhaps Israel's doing it, or perhaps Israel is using the opposition with underground intelligence operatives from the military and Mossad in Iran to do it. Trump probably doesn't care about it because it's not big enough, but it's going to cause Iran to think about attacking Israel because Israel keeps attacking them. Why? Because they keep having the Houthis attack us is one big reason. Is Israel going to attack Yemen? I don't know yet. Trump's talking peace, but what's he doing about Yemen? Making believe? You see? He's afraid of Yemen too. Did he ever do anything about the cartels in Mexico? No. No. This guy Trump is a nightmare. I think he's delusional. I think he has so much stress it broke him up. He broke him up. He knows there's sleeper agents in the United States in the millions, and he's scared to death of it. You never hear him talk about his family anymore. The first term of president, oh, he had his family in the White House all the time, on Air Force One, on the helicopters. He was using them to work for him. Now it's like his family doesn't exist, isn't it? No pictures, no statements, no appearances, no nothing. He's afraid. He doesn't want to see his family get killed. He's like a little girl crying and running scared. There was an old woman who lived in a shoe and she didn't know what to do. That's him, but not in a shoe in the White House. I selected it carefully, don't worry. All right, let's look at the live stream and see if we're getting questions. So I'll keep going on this thing. Let me see if we're getting questions here. Yeah, the border is locked down. He's not getting illegal aliens in the United States anymore. He locked that down. I give him that. When credit is due, I'll give it. He did shut the border, yes. But with so many illegals and sleeper agents, the cow has left the barn. Let's get real. Did Biden do it, not Trump? Absolutely. We need to control what wars we have. We do, but Netanyahu listens to Trump. See, Smotrich and Ben Gvir, the right-wing guys, they wanted to be the Minister of Defense, and they said they would just, if any time Trump, or it was Biden back then, wanted to talk to them, they said we would always talk to them and listen to what they had to say 100% all the time, but we wouldn't listen to them. We wouldn't obey them. We would listen to what they had to say. Netanyahu does whatever Trump wants. That's why the spiritual warfare is very important here, because these two idiots are going to ruin Israel. On purpose? Yep. He begged for our help. Well, Netanyahu probably did do that. A lot of people in Israel feel we're far better off just not having America as an ally. With America as an ally, you don't need enemies. Look what he did to us in Iran. just right in the middle of a victory, stop. Gaza, right in the middle, stop. Lebanon, right in the middle, stop. They probably told us not to keep attacking the Houthis. They don't want us getting any victories. That's the old Henry Kissinger doctrine that they all followed. Obama followed it, Biden followed it, Bush followed it, Johnson followed it, Kennedy followed it, and Trump follows it. Ain't hard to build your own explosive drone. No, Ukraine does it. I think we build them, but our drones get taken down periodically by the Iranians. Not all the time, but it does happen. I'd appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button. It takes it 2 seconds. You're getting news here that you're not going to get elsewhere. People on the kibbutzes felt rumbling a lot. Yeah, but I don't know what that means. But yeah, we feel it all over Israel. Cartels in Mexico knows Trump now. Yeah, but they're not afraid of him. So if Egypt is running Gaza with the UAE, who UAE gives them money, and Egypt helps them smuggle weapons in, do you think that Egypt is not going to take a blind eye to smuggling weapons into Gaza, rearm Hamas, and then they start attacking Israel again? Of course that's what's going to happen. Does Trump care? Apparently Trump could care less. What do we do about it? Well, the only thing I know we do is our spiritual warfare. Netanyahu got to go because he's tap dancing with this idiot Trump. This is the blind leading the blind. I don't think Netanyahu worries too much about this because he knows it's going to be rejected by Hamas. And what's going to happen if Hamas rejects it? Nothing. Netanyahu ain't going to blow the tunnels up because the hostages are there. Trump ain't going to do nothing because the hostages are there and he doesn't do anything anyway. So what's going to happen? Nothing. I think not a lot's going to happen until we hit the day of vengeance, which is going to be pretty quick. Then it's all going to break loose. But maybe the two witnesses will start in earlier. It's very difficult for me to tell you for sure. In some ways, it looks like the two witnesses begin earlier. I don't think there's going to be a door open if there is peace, if the Houthis stop. See, the only ones right now firing at Israel is the Houthis, and it's pretty much daily. So they got to stop the Houthis. If they stop the Houthis, then it might be Elijah starts working with the Levites. But did we see this? It's hard. Israel made two big attacks on the Houthis. They're still operating. America and the UK made not so big attacks and one or two big attacks on the Houthis. They probably made 50 lighter attacks, like 4 jets, on the Houthis, and I think 2 big attacks, and we made 2 big attacks, hitting ports and piers and oil and all kinds of stuff, electrical generators. It's still ongoing. They too have a lot of stuff underground. So and we hit their airports repeatedly. I think that the only way to get the Houthis is to disable Yemen. Hit all the airports, all the ports, all the piers, the railroads, the bridges, the electrical grid, the water, the dams, everything. And just destroy the country, and that's the only way you're going to stop the Houthis. Or, you could go ask America for, 25 MOP 30,000-pound bombs, but we don't even have planes to fly them. And I don't know how many of those things America had to start with. I think they used 14 on Iran. That might be half their inventory or something, So you can forget that. That's not going to happen. So somehow they got to go. Maybe it's a ground operation. I don't know. In Jeremiah 49, they get it, just like Elam, which is Iran, gets it in Jeremiah 49. But this might be after redemption. You have to understand that it could be that way. But actually, no. Really, I don't. No. Elam can't be, which is Iran, because it's destroyed by her enemies in the plural. So this has to happen very, very quickly. I'd say between now and the end of July. That's quick. Elam will go. Yemen, which is Edom, could happen after redemption. That's for sure. And I think it might, because it says the remnant of Edom shall take shall be the possession of Israel, which would mean slaves, and I don't think you'd have slaves with Netanyahu running around, so the 2 witnesses would need to be running the show as the judges. But when you see Elam destroyed by enemies, plural, which is Iran, that would not be something that happens in redemption, because Israel would not get involved in that with other countries. And why would other countries attack them after redemption? It makes no sense. So the Iran ceasefire is very temporary in my book. And Iran is testing Trump further when they say we're going to give him another slap for what he did. They're probably talking about Trump lying by saying Iran called me up and said, what do you think about hitting the Qatar military base you have there at 1 o'clock in the morning? And Trump said, okay. That never happened. That's lying, okay? Trump's lying. And the Iranians are mad, and Trump's saying he did more damage to the nuclear facilities than the reality is. And they're mad. But they're not saying they're going to hit Israel. Because if they hit Israel, then Israel's going to send 50 jets up there right away and start blowing more and more junk up for them. Okay? Like, for instance, there's probably work crews on the nuclear sites, which I could care less about, but what about the missile cities and the missile places they're trying to restore and rebuild, and the airports and the radar? That's what Israel can do. But it says enemies, so it's going to be a concerted effort. So the Iranian situation's going to deteriorate. Is Iran going to get back into the fight because of something that happens in Gaza? Probably never. If Trump and Netanyahu agreed that we're going to go down there and build guillotines and behead every citizen in Gaza, men, women, children, and babies, would Iran enter into the war? No, I don't think so. They don't care. I don't believe they would. And America and Israel are not doing anything of the sort like that. I just took an insane, ridiculous example. How they're going to concoct a two-state solution over there, I don't know. Hey, Rivka, how did they say, you got a minute for me?
Yeah.
How did they say they're going to do a two-state solution in Gaza? Do you remember?
They didn't say how. They're going to allow immigration out of Gaza. They're going to give the governorship to Egypt and I think 2 other.
UAE was one of them, yeah.
Yeah, but they didn't say how they're going to bring it about. But their goal is to, in the end of that, create a two-state solution. Now, there's also information that the United States is going to run the gas platform off of Gaza.
That's our gas platform.
I know.
Did you hear that? Thank you. Trump is talking about running our gas platform off of Gaza, out in the sea, natural gas. Now, maybe what that means is Trump's going to run it to protect it from attack. I don't know.
Look, this war is big money, big business. Nobody goes to war to lose anything. They go to gain wealth. Go back to the scripture and read what everybody did to Israel. That there was a tax to pay, but a war was won. We're paying that war tax to Trump now.
So it looks like Trump wants to steal our oil platform, which doesn't surprise me because initially one of the big owners of that was Dick Cheney. Yes, after he left office. He was with Bush Jr. Then he sold out, so Trump wants that oil platform back. And Netanyahu is a piece of garbage. He'll give it to him. Netanyahu doesn't like the people of Israel. You have to understand. A narcissistic sociopath espot like him hates the people of Israel because they keep trying to put him in jail. He'll do anything to get rid of us. Remember, if he goes to jail, it could be 16 years. He'll die in jail. He'd destroy Israel before he let himself go to jail. Don't you get that? Don't you understand that he would destroy Israel before he went to jail for 16 years? Is that something you're going to choke on and you can't really understand it? If Israel falls apart, then there's no prison. The best thing for Israel and the believers is that the government goes in Israel. Not that we get a new replacement for Netanyahu. I mean, it goes, it goes. Now, where do we get a very concrete indication from Jehovah as to what he's going to do with Israel? Oh, we get it in Isaiah 1, which I'll read to you. It's very firm. Maybe verse 22. Okay, it's actually verse 24, but the old man got it pretty close. Therefore saith Adonai Jehovah of hosts, the mighty one of Israel. You know, never says the mighty one of the churches or associates with the church. It's always Israel. And what does the church say? It says it's not Israel. It stands next to Israel. Satan confuses the people in the churches and cons them into rejecting being in Israel, because in Romans 11 it says all Israel shall be saved. So if you're a believer in Yeshua, you're in Israel. Yeshua calls you his brethren. He's the high priest in the order of Melchizedek. He's the king of Israel. And they get the people to say they're not in Israel. You see, Satan is clever at times. Okay, the mighty one of Israel, I will ease me of my adversaries. That's the day of vengeance. That's when they get it. And avenge me of my enemies. Get even with them. That's recompense and the day of vengeance. Now, in the year of recompenses, the enemies of Israel don't do so good. Hamas has basically been defeated, but they're still there. Hezbollah defeated, but they're still there. Syria has been defeated. They can't threaten us anymore, but the enemies are still there. Iraq is afraid of us. They're not fighting, but the enemies are still there. Iran is afraid of us. They stopped fighting. The enemies are still there. And the lunatics in Yemen are still fighting. So it's not over yet. Now, we go to Isaiah 125, and I will turn my hand upon thee and purely purge away thy dross and take away all thy tin. Well, this is very similar to Malachi 3 with Elijah purging the dross and out of the Levites. And it's also very similar to Zechariah 13 verses 8 and 9, where when the 2/3 get cut off, the 1/3 have the dross taken out of them, like gold being purified or silver being purified. And I will restore thy judges as at the first. Well, who were the judges as at the first? Moses and Aaron, right? They were prophets, just like Elijah and Enoch, and they were working as judges. That's it. It's very simple. And when you read Zechariah 12, King James in the English mistranslates them as governors, which is really the same thing as a judge. But they didn't want to let the cat out of the bag, so they don't say judge. I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Well, that's the 70 counselors Moses and Aaron had. When Yeshua sent them out, he not only sent the apostles, which were called his disciples then, but he also sent the 70 out in Luke 10. The 70. So we'll have the 70 again. Yeshua did. I will restore thy judges as at the first, and thy counselors as at the beginning. Afterward, thou shalt be called the city of righteousness, the faithful city. The afterward makes me believe this is after the appearing of Yeshua in the clouds, seated on the right hand of his Father, not the return to earth, the appearing. So I would believe that this means that Elijah and Enoch running Israel happens before redemption, before the day of vengeance, which is what I keep saying. Zion shall be redeemed. There comes your redemption, which is the appearing in the clouds of Yeshua when we get everlasting life. And you need to read Matthew 24, verse 30, John 6, verse 40, Revelation 1:7, and chapter 1, verse 7, and Zechariah 12, verse 10. I could go through that in a minute. Zion shall be redeemed with judgment, and her converts with righteousness. The converts to Israel is who? The non-Israelite born believers. Who do you think it is? Bugs Bunny. And the destruction of the transgressors and of the sinners shall be together. That's in Malachi 4. They get it at the same time as the enemy surrounding us. And they that forsake Jehovah shall be consumed. For they shall be ashamed of the oaks which you have desired, and you shall be confounded for the gardens that you chose. This is them going out and worshiping, doing demonic worship in the woods and gardens and stuff like that. We're not supposed to talk about what they do at these rituals, and it's rather repulsive. There's no point talking about it. It's a rather dumb idea to talk about it. Okay. I had a problem with Telegram. Telegram disconnected my ability to translate. And you can't contact Telegram customer support or service. It's impossible. They don't respond. So I don't know what we're going to do. But I'm starting to lose patience with Telegram. I know a lot of you use it. I'm not going to stop using it, but it's way too time consuming for me to go to the Arabic and the Hebrew and other languages and figure out what they're being said. But we'll manage for a while. But I'm getting ready to jettison Telegram, maybe. It supposedly has features that don't work there. You're supposed to be able to set up a chat with a large number of people at the same time, audio or video, and you can't do it. The controls aren't there. So it's like, I don't know what's up with them. I don't know why they took away my translate. If I had any problems with another website on Telegram, another channel on Telegram, they would have blocked me. I'm not blocked by anybody. Telegram unilaterally decided to do it to me. I don't know why. So let's give them a good toss. They need some tossed salad and whole enchilada over there. Give them a nice dose. And I don't think they'll turn it back on, but let's just give them a couple of, some pretty good treatments. Okay? And I might go to someplace else where I could work unhindered. I'm not exactly sure where. But I'll figure something out. I don't know yet. Right now it's still reasonably effective, but I don't particularly, enjoy using them. Their controls are completely non-intuitive. They don't work right with Apple products, and just losing my taste. During the wars we used them. They were useful. I may keep using them, and I may look for an alternative with, just stop. I'm not, I'm of the opinion 99% of my offerings do not come from Telegram. But a lot of the people that do give offerings do read the Telegram. But they definitely discriminated against me because I only got 650-ish subscribers after a few years, where other people got 100, 200,000. So obviously they're discriminating against me. Now they don't want me to have translate. So it's, it's just another Satan bot operation. Let's not kid ourselves. But they let you say things and get away with things. And I was talking about Trump, and that's probably where somebody complained. I don't know what, some Satan bots. I have no idea why they did it. I don't care. I'm just telling you that I'm just losing my patience with that operation completely. I have so much trouble. See, when you're using a non-Apple product, when you go to the last post of a channel, you stay there. But with Apple, they have a thing as you get to the bottom of the channel, the last two posts or so, it throws you to the next channel in progression. And you can't read the last two posts unless you go back, and you got to be very gentle about it because they don't have the controls for Apple. So it's really a big, rotten operation, for it had its purposes, but now you're dealing with a play. I got to pay to use it. I don't know what I pay, $10-15 a month because I got a premium account, and you can't even contact them. What kind of operation is it that you can't contact anybody? It's not one that I'm very interested in staying in. So if anybody can suggest an alternative, it might be good. But I do get a lot of information from there. You could always open up another phone number and start afresh and stuff like that. I could always do that. Just like I get, here you see at times they give me trouble. Everywhere I go with the true gospel, I'm going to have some trouble, but the Lord preserves it. So, all right. So, what about the scriptures I was talking about? Let's start. Because some of you probably don't know these scriptures. And remember, I know the churches, 99.9% of them don't ever talk about these scriptures, and that doesn't bother me. But they're in your Bible, so you need to decide that you're going to follow your Bible or you're going to follow the guy with the pulpit and the big building in the denomination. Let me see what's going on in the chat here. If I have questions, I do try to answer questions. Trump may be trying to get Netanyahu cleared so he can resign without prosecution. I don't know if they're going to let Netanyahu do that. Trump may be wanting to get rid of Netanyahu, and ending the war on Gaza would be the way to do it, because then the courts would accelerate his criminal cases, and then he would try to make a deal with them, and I don't know if they would make a deal with him anymore. 3 years ago, or 2 years ago, they probably would have made a deal with him to stay out of politics. You see, he made a deal with him in the past where he said he would restrain himself from politics somehow, and he went back on it. So what they would have to do this time is get a court order from the High Court ordering him to not be in the Likud party anymore and to not hold or run for any kind of office or get involved in politics. And I'm not so sure he would ever agree to that. Oh, Telegram said the translation features. Oh, so it's broken. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. No,
broken.
the translation feature on Telegram. Are
Yeah, I
you?
just read that.
You read it too?
Yeah.
Where did you read it?
I'm here, but I also wrote the help desk.
They have a help desk,
Yeah.
and you managed to find the address and wrote them?
It's in Telegram. It's chat box.
Oh, okay. So it's not me. I couldn't figure out why they did it to me.
I
Okay.
thought they were forcing us to pay for translate because they have that option to pay for, translating all the windows in your chats. So I thought they were going to force us to pay for it.
Oh, I got the pay for account, and it's still not working.
Well,
So it's a failure on their part. Okay. Okay, the words that they the pop-up I get is translate has been deactivated.
Yeah, me too.
All right, so that's nothing then. Okay, so let's cancel the tossed salad and whole enchilada on them then. It's just they're trying to debug their system and I give them the right to do that like anybody else, and that's just normal and it's going to happen and I forgive them. And I'll go back to being very content with them and not bad mouthing them. Although I will tell you, their controls and stuff are very non-intuitive. Like I never saw anything like that. It's so unintuitive. You know what else is really not intuitive is WhatsApp. I thought about holding group meetings in WhatsApp with voice and picture, but I never did it. I've also thought about doing it in Zoom with voice and picture, but I never did it. My wife uses Zoom. So I don't know. So the first rule here to understand is Benji's playing along with Trump because Trump doesn't realize how stupid his ideas are, which are probably coming from Witkoff, but Netanyahu does, and he knows how they're not going to be accepted. And that will turn Trump more and more against Hamas, but so what? Trump's a gutless wonder. We know that. Matthew 24, verse 30. And then shall appear, not return to earth, appear. The sign, that's a miraculous sign. It's not that there's going to be a red light appearing. The appearing of Yeshua in the clouds is the sign. It's a miracle of the Son of Man in heaven. And that's Shemaim in Hebrew. That's where the birds and the airplanes and the clouds are, heaven, right? Okay. And then shall all the tribes of the earth. It doesn't say all the earth. In the Hebrew, it's ha'eretz. So it's saying the tribes of the land of Israel, mourn. And that's right out of Zechariah 12. I'll show you that in a couple of minutes. And they shall see, remember this, file this away, see, like visually look at the Son, they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds. Now, the word for coming, it can also mean appearing. Okay, so they twist this around to play up to Schofield and Darby, but it means appearing, not coming down to earth like they want you to think. Appearing in the clouds of heaven, okay, with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. Now that's going to be the trumpet. And that's going to be when the moon turns to blood and the sun goes dark. Right after that, you're going to see this with Yeshua seated at the right hand of power, God the Father. Both of them appearing in the clouds. Why both? Psalm 110:1. The Lord said to my Lord, sit thou at my right hand until I make your enemies your footstool. Yeshua's enemies have clearly not yet been made his footstool. Have they? Of course not. Okay. So the gathering together is what you read in Matthew 13 about the tares and wheat harvest, if you will. Okay. So we got that. Now, let's take a look at Revelation 1:7. Who's going to see this? Now remember, this is in your Bible, so you might think you're rejecting me, but I'm just reading the scriptures. You want to reject the messenger, you're kidding yourself. You're rejecting the Word of God, not me, the Word of God. I'm just reading you the Word. You're rejecting the Word of God. And who's the Word made flesh? Yeshua. And what does he say? If you reject knowledge, I will reject you. So you should be careful Behold, he cometh with clouds. Now the word cometh again can mean appearing. It's 2064 in Storm's number for the Greek. It can mean appearing. Appearing with clouds, and every eye shall see him. Everybody's going to see him. Now, if the earth was a round ball spinning, how would that work? How could he appear in the clouds when it's spinning? There would be people under the earth. They'd never see him. So for every eye to see him, you know, it's the flat earth, obviously, right? Okay. And so I imagine his image will be, or he'll appear rather large, right? Shall see him. Remember, he says, heaven's my footstool, God the Father. I don't know how big he's going to appear, but it's going to be a miraculous sign. We're not going to freak out. We're going to be rejoicing. But the other 90% of the world, or 98%, or 95%, whatever it is going to be freaking out. But that's their problem. Shall see him, and they also which pierced him. This is exactly out of Zechariah 12:10. Pierced him, they'll see him, all the kindreds of the earth, that's the tribes of the land of Haaretz, shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. That wail, that's mourning. Now let me show you where exactly this comes out of. It's Zechariah 12, verse 10. And a few verses after that. Zechariah 12:10. And I will pour upon the house of David and upon the inhabitants of Jerusalem the spirit of grace and of supplications. Now that's when God pours his spirit out on somebody. Are they believers? Yes. So in other words, he already removed their sins in a day. So just before he pours the spirit out on me, he removes their sins. That's what it says. Israel doesn't repent per se. He removes their sins corporately. Okay? Now what happens? And of supplication, and they shall look upon me whom they have pierced, right out of Revelation 1:7. And that's of course Yeshua. And they shall mourn for him as one mourneth for his only son, and shall be in bitterness for him as one that is in bitterness for his firstborn. In that day shall there be a great mourning in Jerusalem, as the mourning of Hid-Ramon in the valley of Megiddo, and the land shall mourn, every family apart, the family of the house of David apart, and so all the families of Israel, all the tribes of Israel. I don't think it's the family. The word would be mishpucha, which could mean tribes, I guess. But the tribes of Israel are going to all mourn. And that's what we were reading in Matthew 24:30, Revelation 1:7, and so forth, right? And let me, before I work on Zechariah 12 with you, let me go give you another few scriptures. So we know they're going to see him, and they're going to see him as he is. But let's get into some of these scriptures a little bit deeply. First, Second John, I don't want. 1 John 3:2. Behold, now are we the sons of God, and it doth not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, that word means appear, not return to earth, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. And every man that has this hope in him purifieth himself even as he is pure. You see, every man has this hope in him. This was the great hope of the people that the with the apostles and the people sitting under the apostles and learning from them, to have this everlasting life, which is not immortality. Everlasting life, when it's manifested, you read scriptures that these two, my people's days shall be like that of a tree. Well, trees live a long time, but they die. They live thousands of years. Then it says the child shall die 100 in another place. Well, obviously children don't die 100. Very old aged people die 90 something, right? The only place we see people living that long is when they do Social Security fraud and say they're 120 years old, and that's still not a child at 100. Okay, so that was the great hope of them. Then along came Darby, and then Schofield and Ryrie and the other lying false prophets of the church world. And they started with the phony rapture garbage and all the other stuff that the people saw before them never knew about. They didn't understand. Well, when they translated the King James, let me look for a minute at the 1611 King James and see if it's as screwed up. I have a 1611. I don't know if it's in this app. I think it's not, but I have another app. I could pull it up very quickly. Let me do that. As far as memory would serve me, the 1611 and the 1870, 1880 King James that's floating around are using the same garbage translations. I don't know who this is. Let me see. Yes. Mise? Okay, yesh Anglit, ani yesh raksat hebreed. Okay, beseda. Toda. All right. I'll find that 1611 momentarily. It's an app I have that I hardly use, so it's not at the top of my head where exactly it is on my. There it is. Okay, so now we go to 1611. King James. I got it. All right. And I'm there. Now I gotta go to the verse, which will go to let's do Matthew 24:30 to start with. 24. Now I gotta go to the verse. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth, tribes of Israel, the land, mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. You know, that wasn't that helpful, was it? It was more of the same thing. Let's try Revelation 1:7 and see what that looks like. See, these translations in English are just rehashes of the same crap, going back to the 1300s to, Tyndale and even the older one. I forget what they call it. Tyndale is 1500, I think, but they're all the same, same junk. Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. See, it should be he appears, and they also, well, you can use your common sense. If he landed on the earth, how would every eye see him? See, get it? Okay, and every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him, but they spelled pierced Pearced. They which pierced him, and all kindreds, all tribes of the land shall wail because of him. Even it's the same junk. 1611. I could even take you back to older translations, which I'll do, and show you how they're screwed up too. We'll go back to some very old translations. There's a bishop's Bible from 1572, and behold, he cometh with clouds, and all eyes shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail before him. Even so, and see, it's the same garbage there. And let's even get older. I've got older translations. The Great Bible from 1539, which isn't so great. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and all eyes shall see him, and also which pierce him. Maybe I should use a different verse for this. Like, let's switch to Matthew 24:30, see what that does. And then shall appear the token of the Son of Man. See, the token is misleading. It's a sign, in heaven. And then shall all the kindreds of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Let's see if we can even get some of the older translations. I spent many years studying different translations, and all the English translations I could ever find, which is numerous. In this iPad alone, I'm sure I have 60 or 70. They're all junk. There is no good one. Are some better than others? Yes, sure, but is there any really good? No. You got to get to the Hebrew to get anywhere with this. Here it is, Wycliffe from 1395. That's really going back, okay? 1395. Matthew 24:30. And then the token of man is son, that's the Son of Man, shall appear in heaven. See, they're more honest here. It says appear in heaven. So they don't give you the impression he's coming to earth. It says appear in heaven. And man, all, what? And then all kindreds, all tribes of the land shall wail, that's mourning, wailing, and they shall see, they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with with what? Oh, with much I can't, I don't know. Okay, let's take a look at this Bible, Wycliffe and Zechariah 12. Let's see what that helps, if that helps us. Let's try it. Zechariah. Let's see what happens in Zechariah 12:6. This is the two witnesses burning the enemies of Israel up that surround us in the siege. And in that day shall put the dukes of Judah, he's calling the judges dukes here, the dukes of Judah as a crime. I don't even know what this word is. As a sign of it's a sign, CHYNNEI, then it says of FIER in trees, a sign of fire in trees? As a sign of fire in trees, and as a wound of fire in her, and they, yeah, this is too hard to do. Okay, let's go back to the regular King James instead of stumbling around there. So I'm in 1 John 3:2. We'll deal with Zechariah 12 again. Beloved, now are we the sons of God, and it does not yet appear what we shall be, but we know that when he shall appear, we shall be like him, for we shall see him as he is. So now you go to John 6:40. And this is the will of him that sent me, that every one which seeth the Son of Man and believeth on him may have everlasting life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So they're believers because in Zechariah 12:10, first he pours his spirit out on them. Then they look upon the one whom they've pierced, which is Yeshua, and they have everlasting life. Now, does that also apply to the ones, not just the house of David, but also, and the ones in Jerusalem, but also the true believers in the world? I believe it does apply to them because they're in Israel, and I believe it applies to the lost tribes and the other Israelis that are not here, because it says, every eye shall see him, and I believe he pours his spirit out on them also. It wouldn't be just the ones in Israel. It doesn't make sense to me that way because of many other prophecies. It doesn't make sense. You see, after this happens, you go to Jeremiah 30, maybe around verse 8, let's see. Well, we'll go to verse 5, Jeremiah 35. But thus saith Jehovah, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. Well, that's in the beginning of Zechariah 12. He sends them a cup of trembling, and they're shaking and scared because they're going to encounter Elijah and Enoch, and they're not too happy about that. But the demons have motivated them and driving them, I suppose. We have heard a voice of trembling and of fear, and not of peace. Ask you now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness. They're scared to death. Alas, for that day is great. And this is probably including the Israelis, I guess. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Not one of them gets killed, which is not what happens in Gog and Magog, which is not Jacob's trouble. That's the great day of the Lord. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves with him. Well, when I read this, I get the impression that we're going to have a rotten government until the day of redemption. And they shall serve Jehovah Elohim and David, their king, Hamelech David, but it's from the line of David, it's not literally David, whom I will raise up unto him. Therefore, unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Yaakov, saith Jehovah, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee. That would be salvation, you, from afar. That's the next Exodus. But he salvations them. It's a little bit deeper. The word there is Yasha, which is the root of Yeshua, salvation. Yeshua means like the provider or giver of salvation. This is salvation. So I will salvation thee. So that means they, in my opinion, they would have the everlasting life from the land of their captivity, and Yaakov shall return back in Israel, and shall be in rest. The 12 tribes, Jacob or Yaakov in Hebrew, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith Jehovah, to Yasha, to salvation thee, though I make a full end of all the nations that I have scattered thee. Okay, so all the nations he put the Jews into over the centuries, he's going to destroy. Not everybody will get killed, but the nations will be completely messed up. Whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee, but I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. See, now when you go into Zechariah 12:6, what it reads, that you can understand it, it reads, "In that day will I make the governors or the judges of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like a torch of fire in a sheath, and they shall devour, burn up, they shall burn up." It's a better translation. "All the people round about, on the right hand and on the left. And Jerusalem shall be inhabited again." It really doesn't say that. It's saying Jerusalem shall remain still in her own place, even in Jerusalem. So nothing happens to Jerusalem. Jehovah also shall save the tents of Judah first. And okay, so you see, this is what happens, and the church doesn't want you to know about it because Satan hates the two witnesses. And this is going to be, I would say, in the next, I would say before August 1st, and you'll have everlasting life. And then the Exodus comes, and people are going to stop in the wilderness and pass under the rod, enter the bond of the covenant, and then come into Israel. Will the two witnesses be in the wilderness with them? Likely, like Moses and Aaron were. Will they have the tabernacle that Ezekiel 37 says we'll have again? Yeah, and that's portable, so it'll probably be in the wilderness. Is everybody in the wilderness going to make it? No. The Satan bots are going to play games, the liars, the thieves, the fornicators, the adulterers, and they're going to die in the wilderness. Everlasting life is not immortality. You could die. A child shall die 100. I'll be back in a second. We'll dig deeper into it.
Hey, Jim, you come out, I want to talk to you because I need to leave. I need to talk to you because I want to leave. Stop. Okay. One more time.
Let me look at the live stream for a second. See if I have questions. Please hit the thumbs up button. That's not asking too much. It takes you 2 seconds. I appreciate if you would do that, please. I'm not done, but let me make sure I don't have any prayer requests. I write them down. Occasionally I forget. I don't like that. It was when that UAV went into an apartment near Tehran, or it was in Tehran. It was an apartment building. There were IRGC guys meeting in that apartment on a high floor of this residential building in Tehran, and the drone came in, I believe, through the window and got them. It was a targeted assassination. It could have been the opposition forces in Iran. It could have been other entities. I don't know. There's trouble in the UK. There's a group called Palestine Action. The UK government is about to put them on the terrorist list. They've been causing protests about Gaza. That's the Palestine thing. And their protests have been violent. And now they actually did, in the past tense, attack an RAF, Royal Air Force base, inside the UK, vandalize it, causing considerable damage, and now they're saying they're going to hit multiple bases, military bases in the UK that the RAF, Royal Air Force, runs, because it's the Royal Air Force that was hitting the Houthis and I think helping Israel attack Iran, if they were. I don't know if they were. And they were also threatening to kill a drone factory in the UK, blow it up, damage it, or whatever. So the UK is having a very bad time with this. They have many Muslims in the UK. No, I'm not so sure they're in Ireland and Scotland. They're basically in England, but they probably have their fair share of them also in Scotland and Ireland. Okay, so let's take a look at Malachi 4. Verse 1, Malachi 4:1. For behold, The day cometh that shall burn as an oven. That's the day that the two witnesses burn the enemies up, laying siege, surrounding Judah and Jerusalem, not invading, surrounding and attacking, like firing missiles and rockets. That's what the Houthis are doing. That's what Iran's done. Hezbollah did, Hamas did, Syria did, Iraq did. They're all still in these countries. And I think after Elijah starts training the Levites, which we'll cover in a minute, they'll start attacking us in the siege. Behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, all that do wickedly shall be stubble, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith Jehovah of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. Now, this is the 2/3, I believe, getting cut off in Israel. And you read this in Ezekiel 34. It would be the government, the bad shepherds, the rabbis, messianic congregation leaders. They're all no good. And the millionaires and the billionaires and the rich and the Satan bots and the whoremongers and all those that don't fear the Lord. Verse 2, but unto you that fear my name shall the sun, S-U-N, Shemesh of righteousness, arise with healing in its extremities, and you shall go forth and frolic about as calves of the stall. Well, that's when you see Yeshua in the clouds. The Son of Righteousness, for those of you that fear his name, the believers, shall arise with healing. The word for arise is not exactly, it could mean come, break out, break forth. It also means, its basic meaning is irradiate, because he's going to be shining, shoot forth beams. He's going to be very bright. To rise as the sun, to appear like the sun. You see? The righteousness with healing is extremities. The extremities is the word kanaf, and what it means is the border of the garment. That's where the tzitzit, the tassels were, all around the borders, the outer borders of the garment. And that's what the woman with the issue of blood for 12 years grabbed and got healed. That was done so they would know Yeshua is the Son of Righteousness. Back then they read the Old Testament, unlike the churches today. But we do. And you shall tread down the wicked, for they shall be ashes under the soles of your feet. Okay? And the ashes under the soles of your feet are not going to be those laying siege to Israel, because the siege would be outside of our borders. These ashes under our feet are the wicked ones that got burned up. See, their judgment is at the same time. We read that earlier today. So the same time they're burning up the enemies, doing the siege against us in Zechariah 12, they're getting the bad ones in Israel. Shall be ashes under the soles of your feet in the day, that's the day of vengeance, I believe, that I shall do this, saith Jehovah of hosts. Remember you the law of Moses, that's the same law the church said is done away with, my servant, which I commanded unto him in Horeb for all Israel. And if you're a believer in Yeshua, you're in Israel, with the statutes and the judgments. So the law with the statutes and the judgments is not the Ten Commandments. Ten Commandments could be construed as part of it, but certainly not all of it. As some watchman teaches. Behold, incorrectly teaches, behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord. Well, the before is about 70 years before. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers unto the children, and turn the heart of the children unto the fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse. Now, we do well to go to Malachi 3. Verse 1. Behold, I will send my Malach messenger. That's the name of the book, Malach. They say in English, Malachi, messenger. And he shall prepare the way before me. Well, that's Elijah. That's what he does, prepares the way before the return of Yeshua. And Jehovah whom you seek, it's not Jehovah, it's Adonai, it's soft Lord. That's the glory of God of Israel. Whom you seek shall suddenly come to his temple. See, in New Jerusalem, there's no temple. It says that, I believe, in Revelation 21. There's no need for an altar, sacrifices, and stuff like that, because Yeshua did it once and for all. But that's when he comes. He's not here yet. So until he comes, we will have that again. Sacrifices and offerings. Come to his temple. It says, remember, if he were on earth, he would not be a high priest, about Yeshua. So it goes on until he returns, which is roughly going to be 70 years. His temple of the covenant, whom you delight in, behold, he shall come, saith Jehovah of hosts. But who may abide the day of his coming? And who shall stand when he appeareth? For he is like a refiner's fire, and a fuller's soap. And that reminds us of Zechariah 13, verse 8 and 9, where the 2/3 get killed, cut off and killed, and the others have the dross burned out of them and refined like gold and silver. And he shall sit as a refiner and purifier of silver. He shall purify the sons of Levi, and purge them as gold and silver, that they may offer unto Jehovah an offering in righteousness. Well, see, once that happens, the blessings of the law come on us, and that's when they burn the enemies up. Then shall the offering of Judah and Jerusalem be pleasant unto Jehovah, as in the days of old, as in the former years. And I will come near to you to judgment. Well, the judgment we saw just before in Malachi 4. And I will be a swift witness against the sorcerers, that's all your witches, your Satan bots, against the adulterers, self-explanatory, and against false swearers, those that go to court and lie under oath, and against those that oppress the hireling, in other words, rotten bosses in his wages, the widow and the fatherless. They take advantage of the widow and the orphan, and that turn aside the stranger from his right. In other words, they get him to go astray. And fear not me, saith Jehovah of hosts. I'm in verse 6. For I am Jehovah, I change not. And what happened? He changes not. What happened with the flood? 8 people got saved. Had he destroyed his own people, Israel, several times for sins? Yup. What's he going to do to the nations? You got it. I change not. Therefore, you sons of Jacob are not consumed. Even from the days of your father, you are gone away from mine ordinances, and have not kept them. Return unto me, and I will return unto you, saith Jehovah of hosts. Well, when they get the offerings done by the Levites, that are pleasant and acceptable unto the Lord, then the return to him has been completed. Then the blessings of the Lord come on Israel. Like the old days. Will a man rob God? Okay, and it goes on about that. That's pretty much about offerings. So we'll go back into Zechariah 12. And it starts off in verse 1. The burden of the word of the Lord for Israel, saith Jehovah, which stretcheth forth the heavens and layeth the foundations of the earth, and formeth the spirit of man within him. Behold, I will make Jerusalem a cup of trembling unto all the people round about. That could be drinking the cup of the wrath of the Lord, or it could be a different thing. But it appears not to apply to the Israelis, it appears to apply to the people round about. So it's not a pleasant thing unto all the people round about, when they shall be in the siege both against Judah and against Jerusalem. And that's what the land is correctly referred to now, because the 10 tribes are not yet back yet, and we don't have all the land that he gave to us in a covenant, in a covenant in, Genesis 15. And it says, and in that day, that's the day of vengeance, will I make Jerusalem a burdensome stone for all people. All that burden themselves with it shall be cut in pieces, though all the people of the earth, or it could be the land, gathered together against it, could be the land of Israel. In that day, saith the Lord, I will smite every horse with astonishment, and the rider with madness, and I will open my eyes upon the house of Judah, and will smite every horse. Smite every horse of the people with blindness. And the governors, the judges of Judah, shall say in their heart, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, it's saying the inhabitants of Jerusalem's strength is in the Lord of hosts. They twist it up in it. In that day shall I make the governors of Judah like an earth of fire among the wood, and like it's the judges, and like a torch of fire in a sheaf. Judges are prophets. We have 2 prophets coming, and that's it. The 2 witnesses, Enoch and Elijah. David died, it's elected unto man to die only once. Moses died, it's elected unto man to die only once. The 2 witnesses die, it can't be Moses or David or any of that, okay? Like a torch of fire in a sheaf. So it's the 2 witnesses, that's who has fire coming out of their mouth. That's in Revelation 11. So this was the hope of the apostles and those that listened to him. And it's not the hope of the church, because they're ignorant of this and they're involved with a rapture that it's not going to exist. And this could go down any day now. And how few people are even aware of it. Now, the day of vengeance and stuff, there's a couple of quick scriptures you should know about that, which again they don't teach. Isaiah 34:8. Isaiah 34:8. For it is the day of the Lord's vengeance, the day of vengeance, and the year of recompenses for the controversy of Zion. The recompenses, the controversy of Zion, is they don't want Zion to rule the nations. That schmuck Netanyahu with the other schmuck Trump want Israel to make Abrahamic Accord nice, peace-loving deals with these people that are squatting on our land and pumping the oil out. They want us to make friends with them and be happy that they're taking our oil and living in our land. The land goes from the Euphrates to the Nile. What countries does it include? Well, it includes Egypt from the Nile east to the Red Sea. It includes Sudan and South Sudan from the Nile east to the Red Sea. It includes parts of Uganda and Kenya, Djibouti, parts of, or not maybe even all, Ethiopia and Somalia. Then you're going into the main Middle East, and you've got Saudi Arabia, which is not going to be completely destroyed. Edom, which is Yemen, which will be completely destroyed. Jordan, only North Jordan is going to survive. Central and Southern Jordan is Moab, and it goes. Lebanon, which doesn't get completely destroyed. Of course, the land of Israel we have now. And it includes Oman, UAE, Dubai, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, and Lebanon. And now in Syria and Iraq and Turkey, it includes the land that's to the left or the west of the Euphrates River. So when you put all this together that I just read for you, you get an Israel that's about 100 times bigger than what it is today. So that's the absurdity of the Abrahamic Accords. Plus the Abrahamic Accords are against the scriptures, because we're told in the Old Testament not to make treaties with our enemies, especially the ones squatting on our land. So God's going to step in and heal this stuff up for us. The two witnesses will have a pretty good role in there. Okay, then you've got to look at redemption, and the way you go to redemption is you go to Isaiah 63. Oh, my guess is verse 4. The iPad's not cooperating. Hold on. Isaiah 63, verse 4. For the day of vengeance is in my heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. Okay? So the day of vengeance is associated with the year of recompenses and the year of redemption. So it's probably the day that recompenses ends and redemption begins. Now, why did I say 70 years space in here? Because this will be the end of the Bible study for today. In Daniel 9, because I'm throwing so much at you, and most of you guys know this stuff already, but there are people that don't. We got to get the iPad to cooperate, and then we got to go to Daniel 9:24, and there's a translation error in every single English translation, but in every Hebrew manuscript going back to 900 AD, it does not say 70 weeks. It's absurd. It doesn't mean that. It says the word Shavim 2 times in a row. Shavim means 70. The first 70 could be construed as the Babylonian captivity, but more appropriately, when Yeshua was born, which was a big event with the Magi and the star and following them, and Herod killing the male babies, it was a big deal. And when was the temple destroyed and burned? 70 AD. That's probably the 70. They were given 70 years to repent and straighten out, and some did, and many didn't. Then it got destroyed. So it says 70, 70, two 70s. When does the first 70 start? When Yeshua appears in the clouds, seated at the right hand of power, God the Father. And what is going to be the sign just before that? It's going to be when the moon turns to blood and the sun doesn't give its light. And Yeshua will appear in the clouds like the lightning from the east to the west. Okay? So that's the sign of it starting. And there'll be a sound of a trumpet too. So it says, Shavim Shavim are determined. You can't say the word Shavim means 70 and then right next to it the same exact word means weeks. That's lying. Okay, are determined upon thy people. So it's just applying to the Israelites, which could be all those in Yeshua as well, and upon, for real, and upon thy holy city, Jerusalem, to finish the transgression, because after the 70, we're in, those of us that make it are in New Jerusalem, shall finish the transgression, and to make an end of sins, because it says in Jeremiah 31, he's going to put the law in our hearts and give us a heart of flesh and put the law in our inner parts. And we shall all know him from the least to the greatest. Nobody's going to run around saying, know the Lord, for they shall all know him, referencing Israel, of course, which, if you're a believer in Yeshua, you're in the real Israel. An end of sins, and to make reconciliation for lawlessness or iniquity, and to bring in everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the Most Holy. The Most Holy is not Yeshua. It's the holiest of holies in the next temple, which comes down from heaven, by the way. So in Malachi 3, we see Elijah teaching the Levites, and we see the temple. Okay. I don't think that's going to come down while people are shooting rockets at us. I think that'll come down when all that stuff stops. Yet the enemies of Israel will still be in their relative countries, and after they see what Elijah's doing, they'll rise up. And they'll surround us to kill us, and they'll get killed. They'll get burned up. Okay, that was a pretty good piece of prophecy for today. Let's see what's going on in the live stream. Remember, I did this straight out of the Bible. I wasn't sitting there playing games with dreams and visions and that kind of stuff, okay? Please hit the like button, the thumbs up button. It's free. It takes 2 seconds. It's not a lot to ask. Someone asked me about doing the Kohanim blessing. I'll get around to it, but it's something that they do maybe once a year. You know, it's not very frequent, you know. So I don't like to abuse it. But anyway, I'm Moshe, so please pray for me and my wife. Pray for our peace, safety, protection, joy. Pray for healings of our bodies. We certainly need that. I got up at 4 o'clock this morning, a little before actually, so I was tired earlier. And pray for our finances, our health. Finances sure could use it. Pray for better videos with more insights as to prophecy and sequencing. Pray for our animals and pets that are all rescues. They'd be happy, healthy, and whole, and safe and secure. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. And you guys need to, of course, understand the daughter of Babylon is going to go before or right around the same time as this. So anyway, I send my shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach. I should send a Shabbat shalom. Shalom, shalom aleichem. You ever hear that? Shalom, shalom, shalom aleichem. Aleinu shalom aleichem. It means we shall put peace on you, something like that. Words out of it. Anyway, so I send my Shabbat Shalom to all those who love Yeshua HaMashiach, and the other only to those, of course, who love Yeshua HaMashiach. And I'm out, guys, so thank you. I hope you got something out of it. Hit the thumbs up button.